guys, and welcome back to the All Things podcast. And this is crazy because you've already seen her before. This is my best friend Lucy, and she is here from Florida right now.
Crazy.
And
which last time I was in Tennessee.
Yeah, and I was in New York. Yeah, so this is just really crazy. We filmed one via FaceTime.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna like film one in person someday. And I don't think we ever really knew if that was actually gonna happen, like, because we didn't know when we were gonna be able to see each other. And so this is just really exciting. This is the first one we're filming here in Minnesota, and you're here, which is just crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to just do a little bit of a recap on kind of what we talked about last time and the way things have changed, because our lives are completely different, and we filmed it about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I think if we knew...
was it last November?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think if we knew what our life would look like now, we wouldn't even believe it. Like, we really wouldn't. So last time we recorded, I was working at Starbucks.
Which I don't think you ever said that.
I didn't say it. Well, I didn't say it because I was so like ashamed of it. And I couldn't believe that that was like a season of life that I was in. Even though it was like for the sake of ministry, it still felt like, I don't know. I feel like the enemy really told me that it was really like something to be so like ashamed of. Yeah, I remember I avoided saying it.
Yeah.
Like the whole
You essentially just were like, I'm not really content with like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. But that was what I was doing to essentially pay for us to be doing our ministry, like volunteer. And you were a nanny.
I was a nanny, which I think I did talk about a little bit. But yeah, I had dreams since I was 7. The first time I visited Nashville was 2017. And I just fell in love with Nashville, with the city, with the music, the culture, like everything. I loved it so much. And it really felt like in that moment, like the Lord led me through so much after like high school graduation, and I went on a mission trip, and the Lord spoke like vocational ministry over my life. And at that time, I never really thought about like, oh, I'm going to move to Tennessee. Like, I want to make it work in Tennessee. It was just kind of a thing that he like stirred up in me over time. And so I was like white knuckling this dream of living in Tennessee and being in Tennessee and doing ministry in Tennessee. And the season of life that I was in when we filmed that podcast, it was very much a season of like grieving something. Like, I knew that I was going to lose Tennessee, and I knew that the Lord was leading me somewhere else. I didn't know where, but I just had a feeling like he gave me a really sweet gift in Tennessee. And it was definitely one of those things where like it felt like, you know, when you're a toddler, you pitch a fit, you throw a tantrum, you eventually get the thing that you want, and then you realize like, oh, I didn't really want this thing as much as I thought that I did. Or like it didn't bring as much fulfillment as I thought that it would. And that was kind of Tennessee for me. Like I loved it so much, and the Lord provided really sweet community and incredible friends that I'm still close with, that I'm so thankful for. But I think he along the way taught me like, I have something so much better for you, but I need you to be willing to receive it. And in the season of life where we were filming that podcast, I was not willing yet. I was so like just upset, because I think I knew like the Lord was leading me somewhere, and he was getting me to this point of like surrender, like truly surrendering that to him. And I wasn't there yet.
And it's funny because like this was a similar thing for me too as well, because we were, you know, both you and me were doing jobs to be able to be involved in the churches we were in our ministries, which was like really hard. And, you know, because we thought that we would just be like enabled to do it. So yeah, I remember it being really hard for us, and both of us were really like struggling. Yeah, we would like call each other like all the time, like just saying how hard it was. I remember this one particular conversation in August, we like called on the phone, and like obviously on the phone, and we were like crying, and we were talking about how hard it was, and we were just like we were encouraging each other, which we talked about a lot about that in our last podcast, how we very much were the ones to like keep encouraging each other to like fight the good fight. But I remember how both of our attitudes were just not good. the last time we filmed that, but we were like acting like they were.
We were like, everything is fine.
Not
like,
that we didn't like realize, but we were really struggling to have the perspective that we shared.
Right.
Like I would say it was true, but we were like wrestling with it in that moment.
Yeah.
And so during that time, like you weren't being released from, like you weren't being called into ministry because the Lord was working on your attitude.
Yeah.
And then same for me, like we had, my husband and I had really, really good opportunities like in front of us for like vocational worship ministry.
There were a lot of like offers on the table.
Yeah. And like good community, like good community, like places that we would go to like be recharged were like, hey, come and stay. And and I wanted out. Like, I think I wanted out of like being at Starbucks. I wanted out of like being so tired. And the Lord was just not saying yes. And Christian really sensed that, and he said no on our behalf. And I was so like, I was like, what? This like,
it was like devastating. And it was devastating for me to watch because Mallory is
There's
a
not
friend.
anything about each other that we're not informed on at any point in time.
Mallory is a friend who like she bears my burdens and she does it like so selflessly, and like same here. And so it's obviously hard to see somebody that you love go through a season of like wrestling with the Lord and like wanting this thing so bad. And so, but it was also really sweet because both of us felt so cared for by the Lord because we were in such similar seasons at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it really was like, it was different, but it was the same.
We were preaching to each other what we needed to hear.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah. Like she was in the boat with me the whole time. And it was a really special thing to get to walk through together. And then the Lord like provided
in a really
at the
cool
same
way.
time.
This was just wild. So this was like December. So my brother's church, I had been like doing like part-time remote admin for them for a while. And like, my junior or sophomore year of high school, they wanted me to come work for them, but I said no. And then this time they asked again within the same week that we got 2 other offers. We got 3 offers in the same week, 2 within the same day. And we just immediately didn't feel peace from the Lord, but I was really frustrated about it. But I knew this one was very clear. I knew that I wasn't supposed to take it at my brother's church in Florida. And her family's from Florida. And she was living in Nashville at this time. Mind you, white-knuckled to it.
White-knuckled, but also I feel like at this time, like I was starting to release it to the Lord. Like actually.
Yeah.
I was starting to release it to the Lord.
Yep.
And I had told the Lord when I moved to Tennessee, I'm never moving back to Florida. Florida is my Nineveh. I will not go. Like I said that.
Christian's laughing.
I said that to the Lord. And it's funny, like I obviously experienced like the transformative work of like the Lord gave me a soft heart for Florida, for being close to family. Not that I didn't want to be close to family. I just like when I thought about moving back to Florida, my thought was like, oh, I'll go and I'll live at home and I'll do like a residency with the church that I had been a part of since I was 18 years old. And like, this is going to be my life. And I just didn't really see anything outside of that for me in Florida.
Yeah. Well, that's why what's crazy is that I turned it down. And then I was thinking about it and I was asking my husband, I was like, should I put like Lucy's name in? I asked you, I said, would you be willing? I know you're like, you want to be in Nashville. And she was like, you know what? Like, yeah, like
the thing that really got me about that conversation was like Mallory called me. She obviously knew my feelings about going back to Florida, but she said like, I don't trust anybody else with this. And and that was the thing that I was like, oh crap, I really have to like prayerfully consider this. And
I didn't realize that like
it was huge for me.
Wow. And
I think I knew like almost instantaneously, like I feel like this is something that the Lord is calling me to. And so it was it like around Christmas time or like after Christmas?
It was like Christmas, January, like within the middle of December to the middle of January, I think was where like the conversations were, because they gave time for us to like decide and stuff. But I was like, I called them and I actually called them crying and I was like, guys, like, I'm sorry. I was like, we literally just turned down other jobs too. Like it, and, they were like, why are you even like calling us if you're telling us no? I was like, because you need to hear my heart. I was like, but I do have someone I recommend. And I was like, I know she's a friend, but I put her name in and they immediately like went full speed after hiring her.
Insane. So I had my initial interview with them. This was in January. I had my initial interview with them, with the lead pastor and the associate pastor. And by the end of that phone call, they were like offering me the job, which is just so insane. And so after that, they were like, okay, we'll like come to Florida, come visit the church, and just get to know like our people. And so I went in February, at the end of February, and I led worship for that weekend. And I remember I had my final round of interviews with like the elders and the deacons, and I met the worship team, and it just felt like home. Like it didn't feel like there was this like awkward period of like, oh, I'm really gonna have to like acclimate to this church. Like I just felt so embraced and so supported like right off the bat. And since taking the job, I just have learned more about like the waiting that they went through at Trinity, in waiting for somebody to fill this position. And obviously like they loved Mallory, like obviously who wouldn't, but they like really like prayed about this position.
Well,
and, like,
I was
filling this
helping them
position.
from New York.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't helping them. I was doing their planning center.
But still, like Mallory obviously had like a huge role in that ministry. And I mean, right after I got there, people just like took to me so naturally. And I don't even mean that in like I'm not tooting my own horn. It literally is the Lord. And like every step of the way, I was affirmed in like the fact that this is the right decision, and this is the place that I want you, and this is what I have for you. And so it has just been.
And women were so intentional to get to know you.
Yeah.
Like you were sending me pictures that you were in Bible studies and little like craft nights.
Yeah.
And,
like girls on the worship team were like taking me to breakfast. Like it was just really, really sweet. And I just felt so like well cared for in my transition. It's funny. I came from, big churches, and this church,
so teeny.
It's such an intimate, like community of people.
It's the sweetest thing. They're all so sweet.
But I tell them all of the time, like there's something so special about Trinity. Like I've never been a part of a church like this before. And so I love the fact that I get to like look out at the congregation and I know these people.
And they're all smiling.
Exactly. Exactly. And in a church of over 1,000 people, like you can't have relationships with that with that many people. And so the fact that I get to look out at my congregation and understand and recognize like I know these people, like I know their lives and I know their story, and it's just a really sweet thing. And I feel like it helps me to be better in my leadership and more intentional in my leadership because I have relationships with these people. Yeah,
it's been really cool because like, I said no to that position, and like seeing like you don't often see the why when God closes a door for you, but when he closed that door and like I immediately saw the why, and it was that you were supposed to be there.
It was crazy.
So cool. And it kept me going in that way because I was really struggling. I was like, this is my brother's church. I was like, well, and we had turned down opportunities that made more sense for like my husband and I. And so I was like really struggling. I was like, so what are we doing right now? Like, because no one who had been pursuing us for jobs understood why we wouldn't leave. And it was like that the Lord hadn't released us yet. So that was so comforting that like the Lord was like, well, I was doing something here. I was planning on Lucy being here. Like, this is like your no is her finally.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like, so she's so much more fit for it. And like, and literally people in her family were diagnosed with like really tough illnesses right after. And the fact that the Lord planned for her to be near her family.
Yeah. The timing was absolutely
and divine. We'll get to another reason why it's great that you're in Florida in a minute here. But so it was really sweet watching like the way our friendship works, which you need to find a friend like this, is that like we're just, it's genuine like happiness for each other. Like when she took that job, I was just like overjoyed because
it's like true celebration.
Yes. And she's in charge. So when I visit, we're going to like lead together, and it's like, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
But,
well, not long after my like finally season, like
then
yours happened.
Exactly. Because, the Lord had been really working on my attitude. And so pretty much right after I said no, I realized, all right, we just turned down every every opportunity, every door we closed, like the Lord closed it. So I might as well just be content here. And it really became a really sweet, like, couple months. Honestly, from January to when we moved here, it was the best, like, months there in ministry. I really formed really sweet connections with people at work, to where when I actually left Starbucks, they in the middle of on the floor in a busy rush, they brought me cupcakes and balloons, and they follow me on Instagram, and they'll be like, "Hey, miss you," and I'm like, I didn't know I impacted you that much, but anyways, like,
well, you also made a really sweet connection with one specific lady.
Yes.
One specific customer, and that was totally the Lord.
Yes, that was during that time. I felt like I really started finding my place within that ministry. So it wasn't until the Lord corrected my attitude that I get a DM from a worship pastor at the church I'm at now, asking, like, another, essentially, like, just saying, "Hey, we're looking for a worship leader." And we'll do a separate, like, explanation on this crazy story. But anyways, the Lord, like, confirmed this in, like, profound ways for us.
Yeah.
She knows, because she was, like, pretty much there.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't until my attitude was like, my heart was fixed.
Yeah.
You know, and then, so literally the week you started your ministry was the week we accepted or were offered the job.
Yeah, I think offered.
Yeah. The week she started, like, the first week in May, and I was offered this job the first week in May, and it was just crazy. So, like, we've been in, like,
it's like parallel
seasons of life and lessons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. And, like, you know, I always say, like, it's really cool when you get to see the why, like, right away.
Yeah.
And you saw the why in so many reasons why we were at Trinity with your family, and then you can go on and tell.
I'll say this. Mallory and I are similar in this way. My biggest desire and my biggest dream in life is to be a wife and a mom. And both of us have just talked about, like, the way that we feel like we were created for those roles.
Yeah.
And created to pursue, like, biblical female roles. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So,
well, we'll make it make sense later.
Yeah. So, I hope that this offers, like, just hope and peace to anybody else who feels like they've been in just an eternal season of waiting.
Yeah, you should talk about this whole thing for you.
So I have several friends since college who have several good friends. Like, I've been in all of these weddings, and I've witnessed all of these incredible, like, love stories, and
my wedding pictures behind you.
Literally, like, them being one of the most incredible.
Aww.
So I just feel like I've been in this season for such a long time, where I've witnessed like, really close friends, like, people who I would consider, like, sisters, get this thing that I've always wanted.
Marriage.
And there's never been, like, I don't want to say that I was bitter, but it felt like every single time it felt like a little bit like a gut punch from the, like, Lord, here's another one. And honestly, like, more than anything, I think I just felt a little bit, like, left behind. Like, it was just, like, I don't know. And if you've ever been in a similar season, you understand, like, how hard it is to, like, hold celebration, like, true, like, happiness and celebration, but also, like, it's kind of like heartbreak, like, every single time, because it just feels like,
but I want
everybody around you is getting the thing that you want, and it just felt like it was never going to be my turn. And so another thing that I'll say about Trinity is that it was
in, like,
huge
6 weddings or 8.
So if you've ever seen the movie 27 Dresses, my sister Madison literally tells me all the time, she's like, "This is your life. This was written about you." And she's brutal. I adore her. She's my best friend, but she's brutal. And so she would say, like, "They wrote this about you." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Maddie." But it did feel like that. I was in so many weddings, and it was truly, like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And when I took this job, I had to really, like, be honest with the Lord of, like, okay, it's like it's an older congregation. And when I say older, like,
grandmas and grandpas.
Mm-hmm. And it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And I have, like, 75 grandmas and grandpas, literally. Like, that's how it feels. But I was like, okay, Lord, like, you know that this is a huge...
I thought about this for you too. I remember thinking like, oh, she is going to a place where the young adults are slim.
Well, and it's funny because like I got there and there would be like ladies in the church like, oh, are you married? Are you dating somebody? Are you engaged? And I'm like, no. And they'll be like, I'll pray for you. Like, and it's so genuine. It's so genuine. But so I told the Lord, like, when I accepted this job, I was like, okay, Lord, like, you know that this is a huge desire of mine and I'm just going to trust you with it. Like, you're going to have to honestly work a miracle. Like, because I don't know how, like, any young adults would necessarily, like, find this church. Like, not that it's not it's a wonderful church, but, like, the demographic is generally, like, older people. Mm-hmm. So I really had to trust and just walk in faith. And so started the job in May. At the end of July, this guy walks into church.
The only young man.
The only
young bachelor.
When it's funny because my immediate thought, I didn't notice him. We have 2 services at Trinity. I didn't notice him until after the second service, like after everything. Like worship was done, which I think is a good thing because I think if I had noticed him, I probably would have been distracted. Not necessarily like in a bad way. And I still was a little bit distracted when I saw him because originally my first thought was like, oh, his wife is probably in the bathroom or something because we do have a couple young couples like with kids.
But yeah, they're married with kids.
They're married. And so I just thought like, oh, interesting. Like, other young couples have been coming to church recently. And so my first thought genuinely was like, oh, his wife is probably in the bathroom. He's probably married or like his girlfriend is just not with him today. Like I just had like all of these thoughts like immediately. And I walk. This is after service. He's sitting in my row, but at the opposite end of the row. And so I get up, I'm talking, and I glance at his left hand because I'm a psycho. And he's not wearing a wedding ring. And so then the wheels are turning, and I'm like, what are you doing here? My husband is
laughing at this conversation.
I literally was so confused, like genuinely confused. And so I walked to the back. My boss is standing. Pastor Ryan is sitting at the back of the church. He's wonderful.
He's like a dad to us.
I have such a gift in him, in all of the staff at Trinity, but in Ryan specifically, I have such a gift in him because he's so like just full of grace in his leadership, and
he's very pastoral. He's a shepherd.
Wonderful. And so we have a great relationship. I love my boss. And so I walked to the back and he's like, hey, just like that. And I was like, hey. And he said, do you see that man over there? And I said, yeah, no wedding ring. I say it just like that. And Ryan goes, I know him. I can introduce you. And I was like, oh, great. So, he does. And it was just, it's so funny. Like I asked, his name is Paul, my boyfriend. I asked him, I was like, what are you doing back at Trinity? And he said, oh, I'm just here for a change of scenery. Lies. Lies. He heard about me from somebody that his mom had met that goes to Trinity. And essentially, like, he came to Trinity. He was already going to church. He was going to a different church with his family, but he came back to Trinity essentially for me. He learned about me. He watched all of the live streams, and he came back to Trinity. And I remember I was FaceTiming Mallory. So that happened on a Sunday. The following Tuesday, I was driving back to Jacksonville for a hair appointment, and I was FaceTiming Mallory, and in the middle of that FaceTime call, I get a Facebook friend request from Paul. And then I followed him on Instagram. We started DMing, and then we started texting, and the rest is history.
Yep.
He is wonderful.
Look at you.
He is wonderful, and I feel so thankful and so lucky to be loved by him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's another reason why, like, just the timing of everything, it makes so much sense. And the Lord is just, he's going to take care of you. And I know that it can feel like really hopeless because I have been in seasons of, I was talking to them this morning.
You were pretty like bitter.
Oh, I was bitter, but I was also genuinely like lamenting. Like, I have been in so many seasons of lament, and that's not to say that you can't be in a season of lament and a season of celebration for other people. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I do think that you can hold both in the same hand, but it is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it's hard, and it feels it can feel hopeless. And so if you are in a season like that, just know, like, there are really good ones out there, and the Lord's plan and his timing is so much better. It's so much better. And I think I had come to the realization of, like, okay, Lord, like, if it's me and you, and this is what you have for me, you are enough. And I had to get to a point where I actually meant it when I said that, and I didn't just say it as a means to an end, because I think there were seasons of my life where I was like, I'm content. This is fine. Like, I could be single. This
and I
is
was
great.
like, no, you're not. Like,
Yeah, but I did genuinely get to a point in Florida of like, okay, Lord, like, actually, if it's just me and you forever, like, I love you, and I know that you're enough for me, and I know that I lack no good thing. Like, I'm lacking nothing by being single. If anything, like, I gain intimacy and, like, true devotion, and, like, my whole life can be yours. And that's not to say that it's not that way anymore, and it won't be that way in marriage. But the gift of singleness is time, and you have all of your time to devote to the Lord. And so I did get to a place of, like, contentment, and then not 2 weeks later does Paul walk into Trinity.
That's so crazy. What would you tell yourself?
Huh?
What would you tell yourself from a couple months ago? Like, what would you tell her? Like, what perspective would you tell her to have? Or what perspective does she have that she shouldn't have had? Or, like, what's your hindsight?
Yeah.
How would you encourage her?
Gosh. I think, I don't know, there's just something to be said about, like, waiting well and, like, understanding. I said it before, but, like, truly, like, we lack nothing. Like, when you're following the Lord and when you have intimacy and relationship with him, like, there is absolutely nothing that you lack. And I know it can feel that way, but I think I would have told myself to, like, understand the gift of that a little bit better. And
not wish it away.
Yeah, and not wish it away. And even now, like, I'm in a season now where I'm, like, talking about engagement, and it's so exciting and fun. But, like, there's something to be said about, like, taking your time and, like, give this season of life that you're in the time that it deserves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and also too, like, something that is a great thing to be mindful of is, like, she didn't celebrate me any less when she was, like, literally completely single when I was getting married.
That weekend was actually crazy. So it was a back-to-back wedding. Do you remember this?
Yes.
I had Emily's wedding literally the week before Mallory's. I was a bridesmaid in both, but I remember I had to write speeches for both, which was so special. Like, I don't know how often just a bridesmaid gives a speech at the wedding.
Not
but, like,
often,
both
but I
of
really
them,
wanted you to just talk.
Both of them wanted me to, and it was such an honor, and I'm so thankful that I got to do that. But I remember, like, that was, like, honestly, it was like worship for me. Like, getting to have that role. Like, I feel like it gave me a little bit, like, better of a perspective of, like, there's such a gift in these friendships. And I think our whole last podcast was about, like, friendship and relationship and just the gift of that. But, like, truly, when you, like, you're just so worth celebrating. And my friend Emily was so worth celebrating. She was the other wedding that I was in that week. But I don't know, it was just really sweet. Like,
yeah. Well, and I knew that the Lord was going to bless you because literally, like, I was so sick on my wedding week, and you brought me, like, a vapor, like a vocal, what are those called?
like a steamer.
Like a vocal steamer,
yeah.
vocal cord steamer. You brought me a notepad to write my vows on. You brought me, like, honeymoon things.
Yeah.
You brought me cough drops. You brought me like medicine. You you drove me that week to CVS, and we pulled up to the drive to get, like, a prescription, and you were like, and give me both of the best, like, pro and prebiotics.
Yeah,
you've got.
literally.
But you really, like, celebrated me really well, and I knew that was, like, hard because
it was, but it wasn't. like when you have somebody who is so like worth celebrating, like it was an honor for me to like sacrifice for you in that way. Does that make sense? Like the self-sacrifice of like, this is really hard, but it was also such an honor, and I was so happy to do it.
Aw. Well, and I was even just talking to my husband like just Tuesday because you were like sick and you are sick. But I was like, I was bringing you dinner and I was like, this is just like only right. I was like, don't you remember how she was with me like wedding week? So like the Lord will bless you for the way that you bless people, you know? Anyways, now I want to pivot. And I want to talk about, the way that you realized that like your highest calling is not what you're doing in your job right now.
Yeah.
Because it's the same for me, but it came a little bit later.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you start this off.
I literally like can't, like when you think about childhood dreams, like obviously, you know, there were dreams of like, oh, I want to be a country music singer. I want to be like famous. And obviously once I got like old enough, once I like understood like that my relationship with Jesus was really the most important and valuable thing to me, I think he began to like stir in me just like biblical desires to be a wife and a mom. And I can't remember a time where I didn't think like, oh, I really want to be like a wife and a mom one day. Like I'm so excited to be married. I'm so excited to like devote myself to like my husband and to raising kids, like in the church. Like I just can't remember a time when that wasn't so important to me. And it's funny, like Mallory and I say all the time, like, oh, a 9-to-5 does not compare at all. It doesn't hold a candle to like the dream and the desire that I have to just be a wife and a mom.
Yeah. And for me, it didn't come right away. I always knew I wanted to be a wife. I don't know where that came from, but I always knew like I wanted to be a wife. I think I just loved like caring for people in that type of way. And like when we were like a couple weeks dating, I was like inviting, I'm looking below the camera because I'm looking at my husband. Say hi.
Hey. Here.
But I loved like the idea of caring for people in that way. And Christian, you remember we were talking one day and you were like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like how important is it for you to have kids? What did I say? It was like a really low number, like 6 or 7.
Yeah. That's more than half. That's not a really low number.
Yeah, you were more concerned about being a wife than a
mom.
Mom at that point.
Well, and I ended up telling him that part of it was like my family has adopted like 6 kids. There's 8 of us, so there's so many of us, and all with our own like, you know, baggage. And so it like parenting has not been easy on my family, and it's been wonderful. And I like literally cannot imagine my life without my siblings. They're the most precious part of my life. But I watched that it wasn't a cakewalk. Like I watched that it required like a ton of sacrifice, and like it was a lot of seasons it was more sacrifice than give. And then like, you know, then there were other times where like I would say now like the blessing is just like overflowing of like have like my siblings, you know, and me. I'm difficult too. But I knew all that to say, like I knew the cost. Like I knew that it was hard. Yeah. Because I knew so many friends who were like, yeah, I don't even like care if I get married. I just want to be a mom. And I was like, it's not as easy as you think it is. Like I'm watching my parents like lay down their lives daily. And it doesn't matter if you are like a really easy kid or a really difficult kid. Like all my siblings are like the most fun, lively, like gifts from God. The best. But like we all like the love that you have for kids can be a burden because you just want the best for them all the time. You know, like I know the difficult seasons I've been through were such heavy burdens on my mom. So all that to say, like I didn't really want kids that much. And really, honestly, what it was Christian's brother's kids. Like they're the sweetest kids in the world, and their family is just like the most precious family in the world. And like I watched, like I just met them and I was like, oh my gosh, I just love them. And that really like meeting Christian and how much like you love kids. You've always loved kids and you've always been good at like with kids because you were younger. You like when you were younger, your brother had babies and you were around them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Like you've always loved kids and you've always been good with them. And I wasn't. And so, but really when I met him, I was like, wait, I actually really do. But so for me, it was like later. I kind of was like, I'm good. Like, and I was also around a lot of girls who were so like career focused. A lot of girls in the School of Music were very like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this and I'm going to travel the world and I'm this and that. And then like roommates were like, oh, I like, this is my business and I'm going to pour all my life into my business and like make a name for myself. And I was like, oh, I guess I should do that too.
Yeah.
Like I should also have my own business. I should also have my own brand, my own calling. And all those things were good. Like those girls are clearly built for that.
Yeah.
But like I was covering up the fact that like I think I really like I knew I wanted something different for my life.
Literally, like, I long to be domesticated. Like, literally, I want to, like, clean the house and do the dishes and make dinner and, like, be a really good wife.
It's definitely going to get clipped.
But, like, seriously, like, no dream has ever been bigger for me than to be like a good wife and a good mom and like raise kids.
Yeah.
Like, and part of that is to be attributed to the fact that like I have a phenomenal mom.
Yeah.
I have a mom who laid down her life for me and my siblings, and the amount of like self-sacrifice. And I have a mom who is still in her career. Like her career was a huge part of our upbringing. My mom was in the military. In 4th grade, she was deployed to Iraq. She was gone for 9 months, you know, like self-sacrifice. And so there's something to be said about the fact that like I can appreciate like having a really good career and being like diligent in providing for yourself.
But for you, that desire to be at home is deeper.
It truly is.
Yeah.
It truly is. And there's, I think, just something so special about like just being home and like being available, like
stewarding a home, maybe you would call it.
Stewarding a home. Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Well,
yeah.
And I realized how much I enjoyed it when we got married. I didn't have a job for like 2 months. And when I started this Starbucks job is when I started like really like being like really, I just wasn't in a good place. But like when I was home, I actually was like, I love this. Like this is so much fun. And it wasn't necessarily that I don't have a job to do. Like it wasn't that I didn't have to go to work. It was that I got to be home.
Yeah.
Like I loved, like I would get up with him. He would get up in the morning at like 5:30 and I would get up with him and I would make him coffee and like lunch and stuff. Remember? Yeah. And I would like clean the whole place. And when he came home, worship music was playing. I had like a diffuser or a candle going and like it was always clean. Like he came home to like a messy home like maybe 5 times. And that's not like a, you know, oh, I'm so great. But it was like, I just loved that. I loved
you were
doing
thriving.
that.
Yeah.
I loved like making dinner for him. And I didn't realize how happy I would be like not having a job. Like I was really, really happy in that time of life. And again, like, obviously in like the world we're living right now, it's not easy to just have one job. And like, you know, we have goals of like, we want to buy a house someday, you know, pay off debt and things like that. So like, I'm fine with working. And I knew that I couldn't in that time of life, like just be home. Like it would be wiser for me to work.
Right.
But I knew there was like a supernatural amount of like joy I would get from like cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you laughing?
I think it's more than anything, it just is like a heart of like, I want to serve like somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've lived alone for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I like can't be independent, you know, like I just have had myself to worry about and provide for, but like there's just something to be said about like being able and like wanting to serve somebody else in that way. Does that make sense?
Well, and also like it's everybody says like it's so like being home and like this is so funny like saying all this in front of my husband. He's like watching me. But he was telling his guy friends about like me and how I said like I've always wanted to be a wife, and all of his like friends like laughed and they were like, what? That's so crazy. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. They were just like,
they couldn't believe
they were like, that's crazy. They were like, what? They were a little bit confused by it.
They couldn't believe that because their wives weren't like that. Their wives didn't, that wasn't their primary thing in their lives. But for me, I was like, I don't know. There's nothing I really like want to do more than serve somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know,
like the Lord just placed like an innate desire to like nurture and care for others.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of the root of it. Like I really just want to lean into my like biblical role.
Well, and like everybody says it's oppressive. Like it's so oppressive. And I'm like, you're
There's
telling
nothing more
me
freeing.
that like I can be in my slippers and make banana bread
Yeah.
and like listen to music
Yeah.
and be home and like that's like oppressive. Like you can't tell me that also that caring for it's selfish. I'm sorry. If you really like don't want to be at like to take care of somebody and like foster a space and a home of like peace, like that's kind of
well, and that's not
at
to
its
say
root it's selfish.
Well, that's not to discredit people who are like very career driven or even like women who are very career driven. Like I appreciate the way that my mom raised me and my siblings so much with a heavy desire with heavy value in like a career and providing for yourself and just knowing that like you can create like stability for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But also, like, I just have literally, like, never wanted anything more than to, like, make a home, you know?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's, like, one of my best friends in the world, one of our best friends, she is, like, such a amazing entrepreneur. And, like, I brag about her all the time. She's got like her own businesses and she works so hard. But the beautiful thing about her is I see that she wants to sacrifice for somebody. I still see that underneath of her deep, like driven, like work side of her, she still will be a phenomenal wife and wants to be. Absolutely. And so it's not that like if you have a job like yourself, we're both in like what we've been wanting to do. We're
literally living our dreams right now. Like we're living in answered prayers. Both of us are worship leaders. And it is truly like
so fulfilling.
Outside of being, you know, wives and mothers, like we went to school for this.
It's second.
And there were seasons of our life, literally when we filmed the last podcast that we did. For like this is the season that we were praying for, the both of us.
Yeah.
And so we're fully living in that, I think recognizing the gift that it is, but also recognizing this like almost deeper calling.
Well, I think the way that I think about it is like every woman has like another gift beyond it, in the same way that like men, like some of them are great with numbers, some of them are creative, some of them are like, you know, I think it's the same for women. Like, you know, I know some of my girlfriends who are like so creative. I know this girl in my house church who's literally an accountant, and I'm like, you get it. I couldn't be me, but like her sister wants to like be in the medical field. Yeah. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
I think like, again, we're both working full time.
Right.
We're both in our callings and we're enjoying it.
Yeah.
But both of us will like be talking and we're like, our conversations will be like, oh my gosh, like we're so grateful. Like this is so fun. Like I love leading people in worship. Yeah. Like this is so fulfilling. This is totally what I'm wired to do.
Right.
And then there will be a little pause.
And we're like, but I'm excited
I can't wait to just be home. It's so every conversation because it's not like, it's not wrong to like, to have a job and to like, because the Lord clearly called us to this.
Yeah.
Like if he's calling you to do something outside of being a wife and a mom, like do it.
Right.
Like, it's not selfish. It's not wrong. It's not sinful. It's not anything like that. You're like, we're both being obedient right now.
Totally.
But we also like literally always will pause at the end of talking about our like careers and be like, but honestly, like more than anything, I can't wait to to just be home.
Yeah.
Like I'll have days where I'm just like cleaning, you know, on my off day, and I'm like, why do I find this equally
Like,
as,
it's
if not
so
more fulfilling?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And people get so angry at the term like helper. They get so angry at like people saying they just want to be home. Mm-hmm. And I get so frustrated when people say like being like a stay-at-home mom is not like a real job or vocation, because I see how hard my mom works, harder than most people I know, because she has to literally lay her life down every single day for these other lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's such a deep like supernatural fulfillment, because you know, when you're doing your job or like a career you love, like there's fulfillment, like, oh, I'm clearly like gifted in this.
Yeah. And the same thing can be said about ministry, you know, like that's one of the highest callings, I think, too, to like walk into a role where you're continually like prioritizing other people. And like you lay down your comfort, like you lay down your time, you lay down your talent for the good of like the congregation or the people on your team or like the volunteers that you serve. Like it's a continual like self-sacrifice. But in the same way, like the same thing could be said of like even like stay-at-home wives. You know what I mean? Like that is self-sacrifice, and it is a little bit frustrating. It is very frustrating when people say like, oh, you're just like, that's a cop-out, like that's a lazy way to live.
You're a
like,
freeloader.
I don't think so. I think there's something to be said about the fact that like that is biblical. That is biblical. And that's not to say that if this isn't what your life looks like, then you're walking outside of biblical roles. But I just think,
don't despise it.
Yeah. Like don't like knock it just because it's not what you're doing.
Right.
You know?
Right. The only time I would consider like it to be wrong, like when I said selfish, is when you the reason you don't want to is you only want to look out for you and you only want to advance your life.
Right.
But if that, like, I know I have like women in my life who are called Singleness, and that's amazing. I also have women in my life who are like amazing, like doctors and stuff, and they're really blessing people with their gifts. But this isn't about a gifts thing. This is about a wiring thing, because you can have gifts in ministry, you can have gifts in medical, you can have gifts in like all these other things, interior design, you can have gifts in like business, but you're wired for something. And don't be surprised when you feel a supernatural fulfillment when you finally step into that. What, you have a thought, Christian?
No. Yeah.
No?
Period.
She said period. I'm dead. Yeah.
I don't know. So like all the people who think it's like, it's oppressive to be helpful. Isn't it great to like be like needed though? Like, isn't it like, I think it's really special. Like I love helping. I love like.
Yeah. Also, I think this might be a hot take, maybe not, but I think that when you give into your biblical role as a female, it allows your husband to step into their role as a provider too. Like and I'm not saying that it has to look like this, but I just think when you have an innate desire to like walk in your role as a wife and a mom and provide in that way and nurture and help and take care of like the people in your family, the people in your home, like it honestly honors your husband in the way that they're able to like fully walk in their biblical role as a husband, you know? And I say that as an unmarried person, but like, just think about like the biblical design, you know, like it makes sense. Yeah.
Well, and Christian, you had said like when you were looking for a wife, one of the things you were looking for was
someone who was nurturing.
And what did you describe it as?
As a gardener, someone who takes care of.
Tends to. Yeah, cultivates.
Yeah.
Yeah, cultivates, yeah.
And why did you want that?
Okay.
I'm just asking. You're here in the background.
I don't know. I feel like yeah, I agree with you guys in that it's part of I think it's part of the design for guys to desire to be providers and protectors. And then when you're providing and protecting, you're not necessarily able to really cultivate as much, right? Because you're out providing and protecting. So I think it's natural for guys to desire women who are cultivators, people who can create culture and take care of. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know. I just like I've spoken to a lot of like women who have just been frustrated by the terminology and been like, I don't know. I think they think it's lesser than. And I think that perspective is just like, it's just wrong. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's not lesser than. And as soon as you see it for what it is, like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, why else would I feel a deep fulfillment in like vacuuming and like making coffee and making dinner? Like, and it's not in the action. It's in like the role I'm playing in the bigger picture.
Right.
Because there was that time in New York when he was working, like he would leave the house at 6 and he would drive an hour and he would work 7 to 3 and then he would go and he would do ministry. And so I would say to him sometimes, I was like, like me supporting you in your role in ministry, maybe coming and serving with you sometimes, but it may also just be cleaning up when you're at home.
Yeah.
Or when I'm
working.
at home and you're at work. Like it may just be like tending to what is like home.
Yeah. And that's ministry.
So when you come
it really
home,
is.
it's peaceful.
Yeah.
And like there's no other explanation for why that would be so like life-giving.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's all. We've got.
Yeah.
Lucy, do you have any other thoughts before we finish out?
No. I'm just really thankful. I'm thankful that I'm here and that we could do this in person. This is like a gift from the Lord, a really sweet gift. So
what advice would you give somebody who wants what we just talked about, but it's just not coming for them yet?
Man, just wait well. And I know that's hard to hear.
Because it's such a common
But literally,
thing.
like, it's so much better. And I'm telling you this from experience. It's so much better when you wait on the Lord and He fulfills those desires instead of you taking matters into your own hands. Because I tried. I really did. Like, I sent Mallory so many like Marco Polos. I went on a handful of dates when I was in Nashville, and it was just so unfulfilling. And I knew, honestly, almost every single time, like I knew like this is not for me. This is not for me. And I think I was just so tired of waiting. But like the gift that I have in Paul, and a godly man who like wants nothing but the best for me and for us, who is like genuinely pursuing me, like it is so worth the wait. So my advice would be to wait well, and that's actually active. It's not a passive thing that we do. Waiting well requires preparation on your end. So like ask the Lord, like what areas of my life do I need to grow in to be ready for a godly marriage, and allow Him to work in those ways. Keep an ear to the Spirit. And obviously I would say don't stop praying for your husband, because that felt really hopeless for me too. Like, and I was a little bit cynical about it for a while. And so I stopped praying for my husband, and I got super convicted. And then 2 weeks later I met Paul. So yeah, wait well, continue to seek the Lord, and just put your trust in Him.
Yeah.
He's going to fulfill those desires.
Yeah.
So,
and the last thing I'll say about what we were just talking about was, if your priority right now is not to be a wife and a mom, you're not wrong. But I would say like, don't despise it. Don't think that you're less than if that's what you want to do. And don't think that if that's all you can do right now, that it's less than, because it's a really holy and really high calling. And like, you're discipling. like you're a like you are a cultivator of like a space that you can make your home really holy. Like that's a responsibility that we have.
Yeah.
Because we're like, you know, I'm home more than him. You know, it's like that's like a role that shouldn't be looked down upon.
Yeah.
So anyways, this was so much fun. I love you.
I love you.
And thanks for watching. And if you haven't watched the last one with her, you should. And
It'll give a lot of context for a lot of the things that I think we just talked about.
Yep. Anyways, thanks. Bye.
Bye.